More Than 100 Ways to Learner-Centered Literacy is aimed at teachers, classroom practitioners, and really K to middle school who are engaging in classrooms that they want to be learner-focused, learner-centered, high engagement kinds of classrooms. And so it's practical strategies that are designed to build vocabulary, to build fluency and comprehension, to create a love of reading for kids, and to really have authentic kinds of reading materials to immerse learners in text, in print, foster relationships between themselves and text, between the text and the world, between themselves and the world. And then in this new second edition, we've added a supplement for literacy coaches. So again, really practical strategies for those who are sharing expertise and working both with beginning teachers who really need lots of ideas and experienced teachers who have some patterns of practice that are productive and they need to be extended and amplified, and may not be productive and they may need to be enhanced and supplemented. It offers strategies in kind of 3 sections. How do you start the conversation? It's really around actually creating learning-focused relationships. Because the relationship of the literacy coach to the teacher is not a corrective one, it's not a remedial one, and it's sometimes perceived that way. You know how you're doing this? Well, don't do it that way anymore. And so any kind of change can be perceived as something that's corrective. So the book speaks to, and the section in the book speaks to what makes a learning-focused relationship. How is it a little bit different than more social relationships? And the idea of balancing ideas, you know, supporting teachers with information, with technical advice, in giving them the information and ideas, but also processing that information, not just kind of pouring it or dispensing it. And also tying that to standards, tying that to a greater vision of it's not just arbitrary. You know, what you do in your classroom is part of a larger system. It's part of an articulated system to develop literacy from K through 12. And so what are the expectations for learners? What are the expectations for teachers in developing literacy? And how can our conversation be focused on what we call a third point? How can you and I talk about this standard and how what's happening helps learners to meet this standard? So it's learner-focused relationships. It's crafting conversations that have structures so that they're psychologically safe. You know, if I'm not sure that I feel like I should be doing something different, but I'm not sure what it is, and if I admit that to you, it's risky. So how do I create the conversation in a way that's safe not to know, safe to explore, safe to ask questions? When I think about what I'd like the reader to take away, whether it's the classroom practitioner or the literacy coach, it's taking away things that will fit into who they are. Because the book isn't about kind of a patina, you know, here's the right way to develop literacy and let's kind of paint it on you, and it's artificial, and it doesn't really, it's not integrated. So the takeaways are, well, there are philosophical takeaways, certainly. For the classroom teacher, it's that kids need experiences, multiple experiences with real-world kinds of print and information. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And that they need to do that in a way that is interactive, that's engaging, that's very purposeful and relevant. So that's kind of the philosophical underpinning for the classroom. And then for the coach, it's not that different, that teachers need information that fits into who they are, but also pushes them towards a standard of excellence and a way of looking at learning and learners that produces lifelong learners. So the book is really embedded with the notion that we learn that the principles of learning are the same in the classroom as they are for adults, in that we need to take the prior experience of the learner and we need to make connections to that in order for new information to be useful. And so that's kind of the philosophical piece. And then the larger, other additional takeaways are really practical ideas. You know, you can do this tomorrow. It's not a lot of bells and whistles. It really will be meaningful. The book also, because literacy is not a strand, you know, that reading and writing and listening and speaking live across content areas, the book has lots of ideas across content area as well.